Welcome to the deep dive. We take complex source material, boil it down, and give you the absolute core of what you need to know.
Mhm.
Today, we're immersing ourselves in, the pretty oppressive gloom of the final empire. It's this fictional world where the sky isn't blue.
No, it's choked with ash. Constantly. Freedom there is like just a forgotten story.
And the sources we've dug into, they give this really detailed look at a thousand-year tyranny, all under the thumb of the nearly immortal Lord Ruler.
Yeah, it's a society built on essentially two things.
Yeah.
Absolute fear and this really complex system of metallic magic.
So our mission today is to kind of decode that system, the rigid class structure, the physics of their unique magic.
Allomancy and Furukami, yeah.
Right. And maybe most importantly, this desperate underground plot by a group of rogues to just tear the whole thing down.
It's basically the blueprint for an impossible heist, isn't it?
Exactly. And to really get the scope of that heist, you have to feel the world they live in.
Definitely. You mentioned the ash, these lazy black flakes just coating everything. The fields, the ash heaps. It makes the sun look like this dim, bloody smear in the sky.
Horrible.
And then there are the mists. They roll in every single night, covering the whole world. The Ska, they're the enslaved population. They avoid them religiously. They're convinced the mists carry some kind of creeping doom or sickness.
That fear, that constant pervasive fear, it seems like the bedrock of the entire empire. Let's maybe start there with the structure that keeps everyone in their place, the Ska and the nobility.
Well, the division is just brutal. Absolutely.
Yes.
The nobility live on these huge productive plantations. A lot of them are dreaming of getting to Luthadel, the capital, for more glamour, more
You
status.
see that with characters like Lord Tresting, right?
Okay.
Efficient, runs a tight ship, but just utterly cruel.
Utterly. And the Ska are just property, working
Yeah.
quietly under that awful red sun.
And the sources really highlight this one calculation of cruelty that's just, it's stomach churning.
Huh.
Tresting made sure Saga women were killed after just a few weeks.
Yeah, and it wasn't just random sadism, it was population control.
Yeah.
Calculated, specifically to stop half-breed children being born.
Because they might have powers.
Exactly. Kids who might inherit allomancy and threaten the whole system.
Wow. When oppression is that systematic, that meticulous,
Yeah.
it must just crush the will to resist.
It does. The sources show that for a lot of Ska in Luthadel slums, working in the official forges or textile mills, places where you're tracked, controlled, that feels more dangerous than the short, violent life of a thief, scamming nobles, or the ministry itself.
Right. So let's talk about the ministry, the actual apparatus of control. It's centered in Luthadel, in that giant palace, Credit Shaw.
That's the one, the Hill of a Thousand Spires. And at the heart of the administration, you've got the obligators.
Okay, who are they exactly?
Think of them as the bureaucracy, but with almost divine authority. They're shaved bald, wear these dark robes.
And the tattoos?
Yes, instantly recognizable by the ministry tattoos that circle their eyes. It's a mark of their duty, their sort of sacrifice of identity for the Lord Ruler.
So they're not just clerks or accountants then?
Oh no, much more than that. They are the required witnesses for everything important. Contracts, weddings, land deals. If an obligator didn't witness it, didn't stamp it officially, it didn't happen.
That creates this chilling sense of omniscience, like the state sees everything.
Exactly. They're literally the eyes of the Lord Ruler in every transaction. Total documentation, total control.
And if the obligators are the all-seeing administrators, then the inquisitors are the enforcers everyone dreads.
They are terrifying, almost inhuman, these legendary assassins. They're instruments of pure fear, ensuring nobody dares question the Lord Ruler out loud.
But even in this, seemingly unbreakable system, there's one figure who refuses to break. Kelsier, the survivor of Hathson.
Ah, Kelsier. He's fascinating. He defies the whole grim reality just by, well, smiling, even when he's in pain. He moves between plantations, stirs up trouble. He's this disruptive force bringing seeds of rebellion.
And it's personal for him, isn't it? It's not just ideology.
Deeply personal. It's vengeance for his wife, Mare. She died in the pits of Hassan, these horrific prison mines, after they were caught trying something. So yeah, he's challenging a god, but underneath it all, he's settling a score.
And settling that score needs more than just courage. It needs, it needs magic, right? The metallic arts.
Precisely. Which brings us to Allomancy. That's the main magic system here.
Okay, let's get into that. You have Mistborn, like Kelsier, and then Mistings, like most of his crew. What's the difference?
Right. So Allomancy is the art of swallowing flakes or beads of specific metals and then burning them internally, like fuel, to gain power.
Okay.
A Mistborn, and they're rare, can burn all the Allomantic metals. Kelsier is one. The young thief he recruits, Vin, turns out to be one too. But a Misting, They can only burn one specific metal, but they often become incredibly skilled with that single power.
Kelsier uses his Mistborn abilities with real flair, doesn't he? Like throwing coins.
Yeah, he's known for it. He throws coins, bits of metal, ingots sometimes, and then uses steel to push them away or iron to pull them towards him. Gives incredible mobility, lets him sort of fly through the air, and makes him a deadly fighter, using metal shards like projectiles.
And Vin, she had powers but didn't know it.
Initially, yeah. She thought she just had good luck.
Mhm.
But it was actually emotional allomancy. She was instinctively burning brass to subtly soothe people's emotions, dampen suspicion, fear, make them more pliable. A useful skill for a thief.
So Kelsier trains her.
He does. A big part of it is getting her to embrace her power and, importantly, to stop fearing the mists. He teaches her the mists can be an ally for a Mistborn.
Okay, so Kelsier and Vin are the Mistborn. What about the specialized crew, the Mistings? Let's talk about their roles.
Right, the specialists. You got Ham. He's a thug or a pewter arm. He burns pewter.
Which does what? Makes him strong.
Immensely strong, yeah. And tough. Pewter enhances physical strength, durability, balance, even speeds up recovery. He's the muscle, the tank of the crew. He can take a beating that would kill anyone else.
Okay, who else?
Then there's Breeze. He's a soother. He burns brass like Vin could initially, but he's a master manipulator. He subtly dampens emotions, suspicion, anger, fear, making people docile, easy to manage. The sources point out it's an art form, really. Subtle soothing can achieve just as much as its opposite, rioting, which inflames emotions.
So you need a defense against that kind of mental manipulation.
Exactly. And that's Clubs. He's a smoker. He burns copper.
And that creates...
A copper cloud. It's like an invisible bubble around him and anyone nearby. Inside the cloud, allomancy can't be detected by others, like seekers. And crucially, anyone inside is immune to emotional allomancy, both soothing and rioting. He's their counterintelligence, their middle shield.
Makes sense. And Kelsier's brother, Marsh.
We meet him briefly. Marsh is a seeker. He burns bronze. This lets him sense when other people nearby are burning metals using allomancy. He perceives it as like pulsing vibrations, almost like hearing drum beats that nobody else can hear. Incredibly useful for knowing what powers your opponents might be using.
So Allomancy is all about burning metal, consuming it for immediate power. But there's another system, isn't there? Furukami.
Yes, and that's a really crucial distinction the sources make. Allomancy is consumption, power now. Furukami, which is practiced by the terrace keepers, like the steward Sizide, it's about balance, delayed gratification.
How does that work? The metal isn't fuel.
No, it's a storage device,
Yeah.
like a battery. To use a power later, say, enhanced strength or perfect eyesight, the Furikamist first has to store that attribute in a piece of metal called a metal mind
How do they store it?
by spending time without that ability. So, Sized, for example, might spend hours deliberately being weak and frail to store physical strength in a pewter metal mind for later. Or he'd spend time with blurred, poor vision to store up perfect sight in a tin metal mind.
So you have to pay up front, essentially. Diminish yourself now for power later.
Exactly. Requires foresight, discipline, humility. And Salsalsin himself, he embodies this. He's a terraceman, traditionally eunuch because the Lord Ruler used breeding programs to control them. And his life's work, as a keeper, is storing knowledge, preserving the truths of all the religions the Lord Ruler tried to erase. That accumulated knowledge is precisely what the tyrant fears.
Okay, so we have the powers, the crew. Let's get to the grand plan. Kelsier's crew gets hired by Eden. He's a Ska rebellion leader.
Right.
To do the impossible. Overthrow the entire final empire. And the prize. The Lord Ruler's huge reserve of atium. This super rare, super powerful metal.
It's an insane goal.
Yeah.
Kelsier needed the best, most foolhardy criminals he could find. His own brother, Marsh, thought he was crazy, basically accused him of just being driven by ego and greed, not really caring if the Ska survived the fallout.
But Kelsier had a strategy, right? It wasn't just brute force.
No. His strategy was brilliant, in a way. Don't attack the Lord Ruler directly, not at first. Attack the structure holding him up, the nobility.
He decides to create chaos, the house wars.
Exactly. He plans to turn the great houses against each other, using misinformation, targeted violence, impersonation, spreading rumors, like saying House Venture is stockpiling weapons for a coup, or ruining House Tikil's reputation.
It's interesting. Kelsier seems to understand the empire's strength is its rigid predictability.
Yes. The nobles felt secure because the system was stable, the Ska were crushed. By forcing the great houses to fight each other, Kelsier makes them paranoid, desperate, unpredictable. Just like the Ska they oppress. Chaos becomes his weapon.
Which makes Marsh's criticism kind of hit harder, doesn't it? Was Kelsier right to unleash that level of instability, knowing it could easily hurt the very people he claimed to be saving?
It's a huge question about the price of revolution. Kelsier, fueled by that personal vengeance, seemed willing to burn almost anything down to get to the Lord Ruler.
Meanwhile, they had this infiltration plot running. Vin gets pushed into playing the part of Lady Valette Renew.
Right. Sent into the noble balls and parties as a spy.
And she finds it complicated.
Very. She's deeply uncomfortable. It's all alien to her. But she's also kind of drawn to the glamour, the intrigue, the constant threat of assassination attempts and political games hiding beneath the surface.
And she meets Elin Venture there.
Yeah, this idealistic young nobleman, heir to the most powerful house, who secretly reads forbidden philosophy and questions the empire. Vin's spying forces her to see the nobility aren't just monolithic evil. It's more complex.
Okay, so despite all this planning, the intel gathering, Kelsier doesn't actually find the secret weapon to kill the Lord Ruler, does he?
No. He finds some other interesting Allomantic lore, like what happens when you burn gold. You see a version of your past self, like a ghost of who you might have been. Unsettling, but not the key.
So he changes tactics
Mhm.
dramatically.
He pivots. He turns his own death into the ultimate propaganda. He makes sure everyone sees him fighting an inquisitor, defying the unbeatable, before the Lord Ruler himself strikes him down in public.
And the Lord Ruler plays right into it with that quote.
Oh, yeah. He stands over Kelsier's body and basically proclaims, "I am hope, the thing you could never kill. Big mistake."
Because that act, the survivor finally falling to the tyrant, it ignites everything.
Instantly. Kelsier becomes a martyr. The Ska start calling him the Lord of the Mists. His death becomes the spark.
And there's that twist with Lord Renew, Vin's supposed uncle.
Ah, yes. Kelsier's brilliant contingency plan. Renew is revealed not to be human. He's a Kandra.
Which is this?
Like a, well, the sources say a grown-up mist wraith. It's a creature that can consume a dead body, absorb its memories, and use the skeleton to perfectly mimic that person. Kelsier's entire noble infiltration was built on this shapeshifter wearing a dead man's bones.
Incredible. Which brings us to the final confrontation. Vin faces the Lord Ruler, and she has a realization.
She figures it out. His power isn't just allomancy. It's allomancy combined with urchin.
How so?
He's using for chemical metal mines to constantly store up health and, crucially, age. He's been compounding the effects for centuries, effectively making himself immortal, constantly replenishing his youth.
And she spots the weakness.
Yes. Thin metal bracelets piercing his upper arms. Not jewelry. They have to be his ferrochemical storage devices, his hidden batteries.
And Vin, using her Mistborn powers,
uses her iron pulling. Allomancy lets her pull on nearby sources of metal. She focuses on those bracelets.
and just rips them out.
Violently pulls them free from his body.
Perfect.
Immediate. Catastrophic for him. Without the constant influx of stored youth and health from those metal mines, centuries catch up to him in an instant. He just withers, ages rapidly, turns to dust, basically. Revealed not as a god, but as a very old man kept alive by magic.
Wow, it's the ultimate triumph of understanding the system over just trying to match its power.
Absolutely.
So wrapping this up, what's the key takeaway from this deep dive for you, the listener?
For me, it's that revolutionary success here didn't come from having a bigger army or more raw power than the tyrant. It came from knowledge, understanding the mechanics of the magic, how Allomancy and urchin work together, and then identifying and exploiting that single hidden vulnerability. Knowing how the machine works is how you break it.
A really profound point about strategy, but we have to end on that chilling note. The Lord Ruler's final words to Vin. Just before he died, he looked at her, the girl who'd just freed the world, and said,
You have doomed yourself.
"Yeah, why say that? Why would the man who built this 1,000-year empire, who arguably kept humanity alive through whatever threat existed before, why would he claim she doomed everyone?"
What greater danger was his tyranny holding back? What fate is waiting for the final empire now that its oppressive stability is shattered?
That's the final question this deep dive leaves us chewing on. Thanks for joining us.